Hello and welcome to the Think for the Future podcast. My name is Lewis and I'm a behaviour resilience mentor at TFTF. I'll be your host for today, and in case you don't already know who we are, Think for the Future run a behaviour and resilience mentoring program, as well as PSHE workshops and assemblies in over 70 schools across the UK, covering topics of social and emotional resilience. Given the current situation, we have moved online and we are going to be releasing mentoring podcasts regularly on this YouTube channel. On each podcast, we will discuss a topic around social and emotional resilience using our personal life experiences to bring these topics to life and give out useful advice and skills everyone can use at home. Today, we are interviewing Andy and Lawrence, who work in schools around Nottingham and Northampton area, and we will be discussing the topic of resilience. So, Andy and Lawrence, how are we doing? Have you guys been doing in lockdown and isolation, yeah?
Yeah, doing all right, thanks, man.
Getting on okay? What have you guys been up to?
We've been working from home, so we've been working on putting together some content for next year and some stuff to send out online to our schools. I've been ringing some of the young people that I usually work with, having some conversations with them. So yeah, it's been very different to my normal behaviour mentoring, but we're getting by.
Yeah, keeping busy at least. What about yourself, Lawrence?
Yeah, same. Obviously, trying to make new content for next year is really good. I think it's important bringing my students, trying to keep that relationship there is really, really important to me. So I think it's been quite good. Just trying to keep busy with little home workouts and whatnot as well. Just trying to keep myself sane.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you guys taking the time anyway for us to do this and talk about resilience. I think it's massively important. Have you guys seen anything sort of uplifting for our viewers, in the news recently that might make someone smile, even if it's one smile?
Yeah, definitely. I think there was a call went out for people to volunteer to help out with the NHS, sort of taking people's medication to them and doing those sort of jobs. And they needed a certain number of volunteers, and so many people signed up in the first few days that it just massively swamped the number that they needed, and just literally thousands more than they needed. The people volunteered it all over the country. I just think that's really cool that people were willing to kind of put themselves at risk a little bit and just take their own time out just to help out people they don't even know. I think that was a really just a great bit of sort of society coming together actually. And I think there's been quite a few examples of that, people helping out their neighbours and just looking after each other, looking out for each other. And that's really nice to see, actually, really great to see.
Yeah, I mean, that's the good part about social media. We get to see all this stuff happening without actually having to go out of our doors as well. In the face of a pandemic, it's so great to see the world and everyone start to come together to make sure that we actually get through on to the other side, which is, it's massive. What about you, Lawrence?
I thought one of the biggest things I thought was the clapping for the NHS workers. At 8 o'clock, when everyone went out on the doors and they were sitting there clapping. I heard the streets and I thought it was crazy. It gave me goosebumps. I thought the amount of support that we're showing for these NHS workers is amazing. They need that, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I thought I just done a really good job at putting the bins out. Everyone was just clapping for me. I was like, next time I know what I'm doing. But yeah. Excellent. So obviously, guys, today we're talking about resilience. So I guess the best way to start it off would actually be asking you guys what you think resilience is. So what does resilience mean to you?
I think resilience to me is the emotional strength, isn't it? It's your internal strength, to show your strength of character, be able to say and do what's right for yourself. Personally, despite what kind of barriers you're facing, I think it's obviously pushing forward and looking for that goal you got set in mind that's going to be beneficial for yourself.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. I think it's partly, as you said as well, it's that bouncing back from those hard times as well. So as well as getting through it, it's maybe you face some struggles, some setbacks, and then you found that way to just bounce back and get back to where you were before and carry on towards exactly like you said, those goals or wherever it is that you're heading. I think that's really important, and not giving up as well. Not quitting on your way towards your goals or whatever it is you're trying to do. Not giving up on opportunities. I think that takes a lot of resilience, especially when the easier option is always, pretty much always to quit.
Yeah,
100%.
it's that positive mindset, isn't it? To like you to hold on to that, isn't it? Keep positive.
Isn't it? Yeah, keeping positive and like it's a given that sometimes these barriers in life are actually gonna get us down. Like we're not gonna be able to overcome every barrier first time. But there's that quote as well. It's like it's not about how many times you fall down; it's how many times you get back up, right? So like
100%.
how massive is that? It's like we know when we're gonna fail sometimes. It's not always gonna go the right way. But how many times we're gonna get back up, and how many times we're gonna be more prepared in the future to make sure we get through it. But yeah, that's massive, guys. What about what does it actually look like to show resilience? Can you guys think of like a time? Like, what does it mean to show resilience? Like, how can you show resilience?
I reckon I show resilience by like staying calm. When I being put into like pressure, being put into like difficult situations, then I think staying calm and like having that correct mindset on you to deal with those situations. I mean, that shows a lot of resilience.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's maybe two different kinds of resilience. I think there's when you're in situations where you've sort of chosen to be there, maybe you're training for something or you're doing a course or you're at school with exams or whatever, it's a situation where you can get something from it and you've almost chosen to be in that situation. And you need the resilience to not give up and not fail your goals or your dreams in that situation. But then there's other situations that come up in life that are forced upon you that you had no choice in, maybe an illness or a family member being ill or hard times financially or whatever, those kind of things, you had no choice in it. And resilience in that situation, I think, looks a bit different. I think it's about being able to take whatever it is that life's throwing at you at that point and staying positive and not letting it sort of overwhelm you or, push you into a negative place. It's, keeping that optimism despite everything that's going on for you. I think that's a different kind of resilience, and that's maybe even a deeper kind of resilience.
100%. That certainly could be the harder one. So like what we're talking about here is there being one resilience where you're actually going towards something to meet something. You're trying to get this goal, and you're going to be determined. You're not going to let anything stop you from getting to that goal because you want that goal, right? And then there's some times where these trials and tribulations will come to you instead of you actually going to them, and it's like how are you going to deal with the ones that come to you and that are forced upon you? I think both of those are massive.
I think there's resilience in situations where you've got to stand up for yourself, like maybe in a situation of kind of peer pressure or where someone's maybe forcing you to, put your beliefs on display and what you stand for. And I think it takes a real resilience to be able to sort of stand up for what you believe in or to not go down a route that others around you are going into. I think that takes a massive amount of resilience because, it might even be a good-hearted thing. Maybe your friends are asking you to come to a pie or miss the gym or, something like that. And you think, actually, it's going to take a bit of resilience here to take the hard option, maybe the boring options, maybe stay in and study rather than go to that party. I think that kind of peer pressure situation takes a lot of resilience as well.
Yeah, it's good to talk about the different situations that we might actually need resilience in. Yeah, I think that's massive. What about you, Lawrence? What do you think?
I think I 100% agree. I think peer pressure is a massive one, isn't it? Where the social acceptance of people, I think, is going to be really difficult, especially young people as well. Like standing in their own truth and standing up for what they believe in is going to be so difficult for them. And having that resilience behind them and that they can build on is detrimental, I think, in their lives. But like I said, there's going to be some situations that they need to show resilience in that they're not gonna be able to kind of account for. Like I say, if people on the streets and whatnot are being forceful to you, it's showing some resilience by staying calm, walking away from it. Even in schools, we show animosity, being calm and having a level head about it. So there's going to be a lot of different ways that you can actually show it, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, what the thing that you guys have mentioned there that stands out to me the most is peer pressure, and something that Lawrence and you said something similar, is standing in your own truth. How crazy, how resilience and self-respect, and like you say, integrity, standing in your own truth, how closely they all fall together. In those situations, it's like you need to have your own integrity, you need to have your own self-respect, and it's where you set the bar and not where other people do it, which is where peer pressure does fall into.
I think on the peer pressure as well, another thing I'd say is, especially for young people, like, and even for me now at my age, like, know your own resilience as well. I think, especially growing up, I'd say to myself, right, that's the line. I'm not crossing that line. I'm not doing this. I'm not taking that. I'm whatever. But actually, you put yourself in that situation. Eventually, if you're in that situation day after day, you're going to crack. If you don't want to smoke and you're hanging around with a group of mates that smoke all the time, all day, and you're hanging around with them every day, eventually you're going to crack. It's about being able to say, actually, my resilience has got a limit to it. And actually, you sometimes need to remove yourself from a situation so you don't overload your own resilience. I think that's important. Thinking that you can just stand up for yourself all the time in every situation.
I think
that's going to be really hard to do.
Yeah. So I think my laptop lagged there a bit. I thought you were finished, so I didn't mean to interrupt. I think honestly, I think that's massive. Knowing your own levels, knowing your own capacity, so that you're not putting yourself in a situation where you're going to be overcome by whether it's peer pressure or anything like that. Knowing your levels, knowing what your strengths are, it's important to be self-aware of those things. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and anything, even if you're aiming towards a goal, maybe being realistic about what you can do in what time as well, so you don't feel like you're over testing your resilience, because we're all human, aren't we? We can't do everything.
Yeah, I think what we're talking about here is actually barriers that stop us from being resilient. So like the things that make being resilient harder. Can you think of anything like? Can you guys think of any other like barriers that would stop you from being resilient?
I touched on it earlier, didn't I? Or the social acceptance.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be a massive one. Like, and then obviously you got your media pressure on you as well. How you're meant to be looking, how you're meant to be acting, and what kind of thing you're meant to be posting online. I think for young people as well, especially, they're influenced by all these different things. And to show some strength of character and that resilience that they've got in them, like I said, to show their own integrity is massive. There's a lot of people doing it out there.
Yeah, can you guys think of any situation? I know I can. I'd love to hear from you guys. Like a situation where you've had to show resilience, a situation where like that key factor has actually got you through something. Like having resilience has got you through something.
I think a lot when I was in high school, when I was back at school, I think when people used to go to parties, I always used to turn up to the parties, but all my friends used to drink. There's a lot of underage drinking going on, and I think that's still the case now. And I think I had in my head that I like to play rugby, and I knew that damaging your body with alcohol and cigarettes and whatnot was just a no-go in my head. Even though every time I went there, there'd be people walking around with bottles of alcohol, asking you to have a sip, whatnot. And I had that strength of character with myself to say, no, don't need it, don't want it, because I wanted to better myself in the game of rugby. I wanted to be that better person for myself. I was looking out for number one.
Yeah. And number one is yourself, right?
100%.
So you had a goal where you actually wanted to make in a different aspect of life, and you saw how one part of your life might affect that goal, and you're like, wait, hang on, I need to make sure I've patterned this part of my life so I'm not messing up my future. Like being able to think about that as a young person, I think it's like you say, it's detrimental. It's like having that self-awareness where you've got a goal and you're not going to let these things that everyone else want to do affect your goal. Standing alone is massive. So hard to do though. So hard.
Exactly, it's hard to do, but I think we rely on other people a lot as well. I think resilience doesn't just come from internal. I think we can obviously reach out for people for that as well.
Yeah, setting a good example. Like massive.
100%. 100%. So my brothers showed a lot of resilience, and I think that's where kind of characteristic I got it from, personally. Yeah, I think like your family members and whatnot. Karen?
Sorry, I think you touched on something really important there. I think who you're surrounding yourself with and how you are drawing on the people around you makes a massive difference to the amount of resilience you can show. And I think in certain situations, especially those situations we were talking about earlier where something's been forced on you, I think being able to draw on the strength of other people is going to massively affect your own resilience. And I think that comes from being able to sort of open up and say to someone, actually, I'm struggling here. Like, can we have a chat? Can we just do something fun together? Can we just, go out for whatever it is that makes you feel better? And it takes quite a lot, I think, of actual vulnerability to say, look, I'm struggling here, but actually drawing those people in that can support you, even if it's just to text you and say, how are you doing today? I think that's going to massively affect your resilience. I think if you've got people around you that can support you, that can help you.
Yeah, man, definitely.
You know, guys, in the situations that it is harder to show resilience. So, Lawrence, you spoke about going to parties with your friends. Like, yeah, you would be there, but you'd make an effort not to succumb to, underage drinking or smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah, peer pressure in general. I feel, and you guys might agree with me, you might disagree. Like in those situations, it's so much more important to have resilience. It's important to show resilience in the times that are tough as opposed to the times that are easy. So like there's a quote that again I love my quotes. It's like nothing worth doing that is easy is worth doing or something. It's like again I'm not going to get that perfectly, but sometimes in the situations where it's really hard, getting the right result in that situation will make situations in the future a lot easier. You
Yeah.
guys sort of get what I'm saying? So is
No,
it more important to show resilience in those sort of situations?
I don't know where it's most important to show resilience. I don't know. It probably depends quite a lot on the person, doesn't it? I think what you said there at the end, though, like for me personally, when I was sort of in my early 20s and like late teens, I was quite ill and I had to have like a few operations and stuff. And I think that was a situation that was like forced on me. There was no, I had no choice in it. And I think showing resilience for me in that situation was exactly as we said sort of earlier in the podcast, being able to sort of stay positive, being able to speak to people still and be like the kind of normal guy that I am, trying to be that same person, even though you're going through that hard time. And I think that, you know, your friends seeing you in that situation and you've still been able to be positive and stuff, that encourages them. And then they, exactly as you said, further down the line, you've got that sort of inner strength inside you saying, well, actually, I got through that and I was fine, so I can get through the next thing and the next thing or whatever else comes my way. So I think that's massive. I think you definitely can grow your resilience from, like you said earlier on, being aware of it, knowing that this is a situation you're going to need to be resilient, and then you can draw on it.
Yeah, and being around people that are resilient as well. Like you say, like you said, it's infectious, isn't it?
Yeah.
To have that kind of like outcome is definitely infectious. It makes you feel good about yourself to be able to say, I stood on my own truth. I held my own ground and move forward.
Yeah.
Did what's right for myself.
Yeah, feel good about like what you've done and remember how you felt after you were resilient. So like something that I think about is like so I like to do like cliff jumping and things like that into water, obviously, not just straight to the ground. But like, I think about the tallest like cliff that I've ever jumped off every time before I'm about to jump off one that's smaller, and it makes it so much easier. And I remember the feeling that I'd get after doing that, after doing that big one, that like every other one is so much easier now, but I still get the same reward of like how I feel after doing it. But yes, like I guess that you can sort of translate that into having resilience. It is massive.
So you said that you use past experiences to like fuel your like resilience, fuel your ambition to move forward with that.
Yeah, it's massive.
Message.
I'm just gonna we'll sort of wrap up the podcast, but guys, would just want to get like one sort of top tip that you could tell our viewers on how to keep resilient, how to be resilient.
One top tip.
One top tip, yeah, only one.
I think the top tip, having had this conversation, I think the top tip for me to have that resilience that's going to go on for time is to have people around you that are that positive influence and that's someone that you can have a honest and open conversation with and have a real conversation with and be like, I'm struggling with this, or can I help you with that? And I know that like we're all lads here, aren't we? We're all men here. That's not always the easiest thing for us men to do, is it? And I think it's actually an important thing to be able to say, actually, I need a bit of help here, and having those people around you that you can be open with and that you can actually share your troubles with, even if it's a family member or a mate or whatever, a partner. I think that's really important, and I think actually that little bit of it might feel like weakness when you say to someone that you're struggling, but I think that's where you can get a lot of strength from.
Admitting the things that you need help with is, I think that's so strong because not enough people do it, so it must be the hard thing to do, right? Like getting over that thing, that feeling that like, oh, everyone's got their own problems, you've got to deal with your own problems. Get over that, mate. Like honestly, get around, ask for help, even if you don't feel like you need help. Get help, why not? And then guess what, you can help them out in a different situation, in a different walk of life. It's like we're all here together as humans, let's all connect in that way and actually help each other and uplift each other. And it comes down to like what you say as well. Surround yourself with the right people that can actually help benefit you and be that positive impact or positive example. Like, it's massive. One top tip from you, Lawrence.
I think it's maintaining that positive outlook that you want. I think it's that positive view of yourself. I think you can like picture yourself, what you want yourself to be like, and maintaining that. I think it's going to be really important. It's going to help you move forward and help you become that kind of person that you want to be, and not letting these influences change your ideologies. I think it's massive.
Yeah, I love that. It's almost like having that goal, and then you're asking yourself like, what am I being resilient for? And then you know what it is.
Yeah, vision yourself being a better person, 100%.
Yeah. Who do you want to be, not who you are? So important. Listen, guys, massive thank you again for taking the time to come talk to us about resilience. I think it's a massive thing for youth today, and certainly myself. I hope everyone that's watching is able to take something from it. But again, massive thank you, guys.
No, thank you.
Take it easy.
Take it easy, guys.
So thank you very much for listening to today's Think for the Future podcast on resilience. Today your presenter has been me, Lewis, and we've been interviewing Andy and Lawrence. Hopefully you found it useful for thinking about how we can show resilience in this current time and in all other times in your life. And just make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter as well. You can keep up to date on all of our resources and videos. Thank you very much.